Well, we've gotten to the end of the year in 8th grade and looking forward to algebra, and all of a sudden we've hit a roadblock. So solving equations is actually a very simple process. Maybe we complicate it in the classroom, but let's just talk about how it can be simple. If you can think about the equal sign as being a balance or a divide, whatever you want to do, and you are essentially taking an equation and separating two important qualities. Number one are variables. Those are what we refer to so often as x, y, z. Any kind of number. It can change. It can vary. In one problem x may be 3, another problem x may be negative 12. The other type of term that we'll see are constants. You've known those since early on. 1 is a constant. It's always 1. 2.5 is always 2.5. It's constant. So solving an equation means I'm going to separate the variables and the constants, because at some point I want to be able to say that x is equal to a constant. I want to know, based on the problem I've given, what the value of x is at that particular standpoint. So to do that, we use a lot of inverse operations, or the reverse of something. Well, it's easier to look at an example than it is just to talk about it. So let's take an example of x plus 10 equals 12. Now you're jumping out of your seat because you're knowing, oh, I know this because 2 plus 10 equals 12. Well, that's why we start here. We want to look at the process more than just looking and seeing, oh, I know there's some number plus 10 equals 12. It's got to be 2. Let's look at the process of solving the problem so we can take a more complicated one. So we've got a variable over here, a number. We'll call it variable, and we've got a number over here, and we've got a number over here. Now this is easy because all the variables are over here, the only one. So I want to get this number over there, because remember, I want to get variable equals some number. So I can know what the variable is. In this case, I can know what x is. So I got to get this 10. It's a positive 10 because I'm adding it. So to reverse that, to inverse that, I'm going to subtract 10. Now this equal sign is a pretty demanding character. It says if you do something to the left, make sure you do it to the right. So I'm going to subtract 10 from over here to keep everything in balance. When I do that, well, x plus 10 minus 10. The plus 10 and the minus 10 go to 0, which was my goal. The only thing left over there is x, so I'm going to bring it down. My equal sign has to come down with me because I've got an equation, and I have to keep that equal sign to have an equation. 12. Now I can say 12 minus 10, or 12 plus a negative 10. Either way I want to say that's correct, but 12 minus 10 or 12 plus a negative 10 is equal to 2. And that was my goal, was to know that x, what's the value of x? Now, yeah, I know, early on you said x is equal to 2. Now let's take an example that may not be quite as crystal clear when we first look at it, and see how the process helps us solve the problem. So we're going to flip our paper over here, and let's take 2x plus 3 equals 19. Again, not a hard problem, and in fact, intuitively, you're doing what needs to be done. So let's look. We've got our variable, a number, another number. So what are we going to do? We're going to get rid of this number, this constant term over here. How do we do that? Again, we're going to back it out. Inverse. We're going to put the car in reverse and run it out of the driveway. How do we do that with this number? Well, we're going to put a minus 3 to it, because our goal is to get 0. Minus 3 here, because the equal sign says don't get me unbalanced. Whatever you do to the left, you have to do to the right. Again, the positive 3 and the negative 3 go to 0. I'm left with a 2x. Don't forget that. And now I've got an equal sign. I have to bring it down. 19 minus 3, or 19 plus a negative 3. That would be 16. Oh, I'm close. I don't want to know what 2x is. I want to know what 1x is. So when I see a number beside a variable, I know that they are multiplying together. We don't put that little dot there, but it's there. So I want to know what 1x is. How do I get a 1 in front of that? Well, Going to divide by whatever's in front of there. 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. Now I don't write this 1 here. It's kind of the invisible understood 1. But if I divide this side by 2, I've got to divide this side by 2. 16 divided by 2, let's see, that's 8. So x is equal to 8. Would that be true? Well, let's plug it in. 2 times 8 is 16, plus 3 is 19, and 19 does equal 19. Okay, these are kind of level 1, level 2 questions, but enough to get you started on the philosophy or the concept of separating the variables from the numbers. A little bit later, we'll record a video where we have variables on both sides, numbers on both sides, and it all will seem like chaos. One step at a time, it'll get clearer and clearer until we get to right here. Good luck. Well, we've gotten to the end of the year in 8th grade and looking forward to algebra, and all of a sudden we've hit a roadblock. So solving equations is actually a very simple process. Maybe we complicate it in the classroom, but let's just talk about how it can be simple. If you can think about the equal sign as being a balance or a divide, whatever you want to do, and you are essentially taking an equation and separating